Was that interesting so far? Helpful? Yeah, is it helpful? Did anybody have a comment, like as maybe you're thinking about something you might have said or wanted to say? Yeah, Pastor Stan?
I just wanted you to remember that if we don't learn, it's your problem.
It's my fault, yeah. If you don't learn, it's my fault, and that's right on. It's very true, which is why I didn't sleep at all last night. It had nothing to do with the 4-month-old or any. No. Anybody else have anything they wanted to say? I flew. My wife is American, but she lived in Peru before we were married. I flew there at Thanksgiving time to visit her. Flew overnight, didn't sleep at all on the plane. Got off the plane. Pastor Stan met us at the airport. Said, we're going to play basketball right away. Get ready. Oh, okay. Playing basketball. I think, if anybody doesn't know, Pastor Stan is very competitive at sports.
No.
Just a little bit. I think we won that game.
No.
I think, yeah, no, it was me and Juliana. We won. I felt terrible. He walked way in front of us. We were behind, and we got back to his house. I took a shower. I didn't know, but I think I took your hot water, maybe. Yeah, that's why I've never been invited back. Maybe Pastor Brian, could you share a little bit about what you were saying before? I don't know how to turn this on. There we go. You were talking a little bit about preaching. You said, yeah, Nate, but wait a second. Hey, I do all this planning. I got 1,000 things I want to say. Yeah, that.
Yeah, so I just thought about being a teacher, and it just reinforces what I was talking about this morning, really, that there's another side to it that's not just spontaneity and gift, but there's a part that really needs to be taught. And because when you think about it as a teacher, you think, well, here's the stuff I want to teach, and the easiest way is sit them down in front of me and talk until I'm done. And then there it is. And then anything besides that is just going to reduce my list of what I'm able to teach. What do I got to do, Nate? Oh, you're going to break them into groups. You're going to have them read something, and they're going to digest it and spit out 3 facts. Well, what about the 15 points that I was supposed to teach them during that 15 minutes? And the point is, well, where you're really teaching them, and where you're really teaching all of them. And my conclusion after talking with Professor McFarland was that it's worth the effort to put the thought into it, and decide where you want to end up, and try to get everybody there as best you can. I mean, already if you're teaching with a translator, you already shifted from 5th into 3rd. Now you're in 3rd gear, and now Nate's coming up with all these ingenious ways to reduce the class time even more. I mean, the teaching just so that students have fun. It's like, but I'm convinced that it's not futile. That it's very much worth the effort.
I think maybe later on I'd like to do just a brief time. Maybe we'll do like Thursday if there's time. I might be back Thursday, but I'd like to do a little short lesson on how to create a 30-minute class where teenagers will be engaged in the Bible, and you only have to speak for 7 minutes. And Matt's seen that, right? And it's awesome, isn't it? And they're like engaged, they're all into it, and by the time they're done, that what I asked you guys to do was an exit ticket. That's what they call it when you have to do something before you leave the room. And I stand at the end of the chapel, and I have 40 kids walking, maybe a little less, walking by saying something from the class, and that's assessment. And I know they learned something. That's like how I know we got there. And it's not always the same way when I do the 30-minute speaking. So it's a really awesome thing that maybe we can talk a little bit about later. Okay, stand up. All right. I feel like maybe somebody could sing a song. I don't know. Who can sing? All right, so I'm going to jump into something. And I'm sorry. I mean, there's if you're funny about this, I'm sorry, but it's really good information. But this is a gentleman who's Canadian. He's not a believer. I'm sorry, but this is just another way I want to use this to illustrate like a little bit of some learning differences, and then I'm going to have you find out which one you are. And you're going to find out together. It's going to be really cool. Okay, so Anthony Gregoric, and he's an educator for 40-something years, and he and his school noticed that there are two types of channels, these bandwidths that everybody seems to move into. And one of them is concrete and abstract. That's this like x-axis if you're a geography person, okay? And some people are really good at the concrete and maybe really bad at the abstract. Do you know what I mean by that? Like some people are really good, like, who here loves pizza? Oh yeah, who here loves your puppy? Oh yeah, who here loves God? What? Who? It's like very abstract, maybe. Those ideas. They're hard to grasp. They're not something I can easily put my hands on. Meanwhile, there's some people who are really good at this part. They can see all of that. But when it's right there in front of them, they have a really hard time with it. And he believes that everybody falls somewhere along this particular category, which is really interesting. Okay. So let's illustrate it a little bit. What do you see when you look at that picture? Who sees a young woman? Who sees an old lady? Who sees both? Okay, look closely. Can you see both? Okay, so if you see the young lady, this is her chin. Right? That's the chin. Can't reach. And she's looking that way. And if you see the old woman, that's her nose. And this is her mouth, and there's her chin. And her hair. Yeah, you see both? Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Change it. We get it. We get the point. Okay. That's perception. All right. How about this one? Yeah, it's upside down, maybe. Okay. That's perception, concrete versus abstract. He also said that there's another channel, and it's an ordering channel. And some people, they are very sequential. They like who here has a desk where everything has its place? Yeah. And then if you're like me, right, Mrs. Lanch, you're completely random in your desk. Who here has a desk that's it's just a mess, but you know where everything is? Hey, I need that application. I need the file for a student. Oh yeah, it's right here. There. We had a question. I mean, come on, it's clearly right there. All right. Is that sequential or random? It's random. Whose desk is that? Does anybody know? It's Einstein's desk. Albert Einstein. Yeah. Okay. So sequential is not always the best, is it? Because Albert Einstein, he's not very sequential, it seems. Okay. E equals mc to the 7th power, the 4th power. No, I just can't get it. And there's the maid saying, that desk looks better. Everything's squared away. Yes, sir. Squared away. E equals mc squared. Okay. Mr. Jansen would love that joke. Okay. So, you have these two channels, a perception channel and an ordering channel, and that gives us 4 categories of possibilities, okay? So, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd, and we're going to get into this really fast. I'll go through some of it. It'll make a lot of sense, I hope. You're going to take a self-assessment, and then hopefully it'll make a lot of sense to you. All right, so he has the idea that we have all the way, let's see, concrete, sequential, bottom left, the blue one, that's concrete. It doesn't matter necessarily where they are on the grid, but concrete, sequential type of person is dependent on 5 senses and logical ordering. My wife is, both her parents are programmers, computer programmers, or have been in their past career experience. So everything they do is like, and if anybody here knows my wife, she is nothing like that, actually. That's a concrete, sequential. Abstract, random, depends on the imagination, the intellect, emotions, and holistic ordering. Abstract, sequential depends on the imagination, the intellect, emotions, and logical ordering. Concrete random depends on 5 senses, and holistic ordering. Okay, those words, let me put them in different words for a second, okay? The concrete sequential, or we could say the CS. CS, that person, there's a place for everything, and everything should be in its place. All right? Place for everything, everything should be in its place. That person is practical, realistic, they like facts, they like detailed and specific instructions, they're organized and efficient, they're structured, directed, they always follow the rules. Can anybody think of a person like that? Maybe I have a couple people in my mind I think of right away. Okay? Now, for that type of learner, they want order. They want predictability. They want routine. They want to accomplish something. They like tasks, hands-on things, something with a practical application that's outlined. Anybody here do your notes outlined form? Okay. The abstract random person is a little different. Actually, they're a complete opposite. Love is the music of life, they say. Okay? They're personal, interpretive, reflective. They like to connect and relate and feel things. They like to use their imagination, and they like to express how they feel. Those types of learners want personal attention. They want an interpersonal class atmosphere where everybody's close together in groups. Okay? Something with an open-ended structure. You know, like the concrete sequential person, I want to know how many problems should I do before class is over. And this person says, if we get there, we get there. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. Okay? They like a sense of humor. They like flexibility. They like visuals. We'll attack separately, so timing is everything. Every second is important. What's the precise time of the attack? 12-ish. Okay. The abstract sequential, the AS, to thy own self be true, and you can't be false to any man. This is an intellectual, academic person who does like logic and reasoning, but likes references. So they're always comparing everything to a reference. Let me check Wikipedia. Let me check what this person says. They like subject matter experts. You know? So you have a good idea, yeah, but what does he say? I want to know what the expert says. They're very conceptual and theoretical, thought-provoking, and likes tradition. Those learners, they like to go on a quest for knowledge. They like collegial exchange. They care a lot about how hard they've worked. You know, they like research, they like to debate, they like expert opinion, and they're very serious about what they know. Okay. Good example. 2 scientists shaking hands from across the lab, and it says, I've been meaning to introduce myself for years. They're so focused on what they're doing. Okay. Finally, the concrete random. To soar like an eagle, the wind at my back, free to challenge the impossible, to test the impossible. This CR mind is usually divergent and likes to solve problems. They like to experiment. They like to investigate. They're inventive, innovative, curious, and self-directed. They need creative application. They need surprise, challenge, predictions, a change of pace, a willingness to take risks, and maybe even get it wrong. They're okay with that. They like to solve real-world problems, and often they do it through trial and error. If anybody's worked with children, and some children, when they do math problems, and you try to slow them down to a process, 5 plus 4 is 3. No, 5 plus 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They're not thinking it through. They just give you as many answers as they possibly can until you say, yes, that's the one. Wait, which one? 10, 9, 8? Okay. My problem is I can't tell the rules from the guidelines. Okay. Okay, so I think I may have to make extra copies for those of you who are not credit students, but Gregork's Learning Style Inventory, it works like this. Oh, if I could pull it up on here, it would be better. Let me pass this. Can you pass this out while I pull that up? And then maybe somebody who could run over and get copies for those who are not credit students. And I'm going to try to find, I'm going to put it on the screen here in a second. Now, some of you guys were in my class before and you've done this before, but I want you to do it again because I want you to see if anything has changed. And you're going to make word associations in this. You're going to number them, okay? So hang on, let me see if I can pull it up, Gregork. Let's see. Okay. Okay, can you see that up there now? All right. So before you start working on it on your paper, I want you to look up here for a second. First thing you're going to do, this column number 1, you're going to order these from 1 to 4, 4 being the one that best describes who you are, all the way down to 1. So you're going to compare each word. Objective, evaluative, sensitive, intuitive. Okay, which one's most like me? That one gets a 4. Which one's least like me? That gets a 1. And you're going to do that for that one box, and then you're going to go to the second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way to 10. When you're finished with all those 1 through 10, you add these numbers across, and that gives you a number there. And you add this one, and that gives you a number there, etc., all the way down. Then you'll add this number, and it'll tell you here what the total number is. And you'll do those from here to there. So go ahead, and I'm here to help. This is going to take us some time to work through it. Look through it. If you need anything, I'm running around to help, okay?
What's the guy's name?
Anthony Gregork. Gregorc. Gregork. Okay, when you start to get close to the end, you're going to get numbers at the bottom next to AS, CS, AR, and CR. And when you do that, the number that's the highest is going to be the one that's supposed to be most like you. And this is not a science. This is just, you're guessing in some ways. So you flip the page over, and there's a description of each of those types of things. So they call it your dominant, okay? So what I'd like you to do is when you figure out which one you are, I want you to look at the bullet points, and anything that sounds like you on your dominant, I want you to put a check mark next to it. Okay? What I'd like you to do next is, as you finish, I want you to find the others in the room who match your style. Okay? And then get in a group. I just want to make sure I got the groups right. So who's back here? Back here. Concrete sequential. Anybody missing that should be back there? Concrete sequential. So you guys like things in order? Yes. Okay. You like outlines? Yeah? Okay, let's look at the things that make somebody in that category. So look at concrete sequential. And they might have difficulty. See where it says that those students might have difficulty choosing from many options, acting without specific direction, not having a full explanation for change, taking new approaches, dealing with opposing viewpoints, interpreting abstract ideas, understanding feelings, waiting, sitting still, answering what if, and using imaginative expressions. Okay, so that's you guys. So then we got over here, CR? CRs are over here. Okay, that's the bottom right. Look at CR. They might have difficulty pacing and meeting time limitations. Finishing projects when a new idea hits. Okay, do you guys like to start a project and then, yeah, it sounds like you, okay. They have a problem choosing one answer, doing formal reports, being graded on products, having no variety or choices, working in a controlled environment, Following a lecture without being able to interact with the speaker. Hey, I want some interaction over here. Come on. Showing how they arrived at an answer. Okay, then we got AR, abstract random. Is that you guys over here? No? Oh, wait, okay, so you guys are abstract sequential. Expresses emotions constructively. That's hard for you? You have a hard time writing creatively? I noticed that you guys are reluctant to sit together. Does that mean you have a problem working in group discussions? Hey, look at that. They have a problem playing games. They have a problem maybe making physical products or convincing others diplomatically. Did anybody argue over here yet? No? They don't like to be criticized. I'm sorry, guys, for criticizing you before. Please forgive me. They have a hard time maybe taking risks sometimes or experimenting with open-ended problems. Okay, ARs are over here then. You guys have difficulty maybe giving details and exact answers, memorizing, working alone for long periods of time, working step by step, working within the limits, being corrected. Hey, stop that. Competing, organizing plans, concentrating on one task at a time. Anybody got their phone out over there? No, okay. And working with authoritarian personalities. Okay, now, here's what I want to say. If you feel like this is not you, the dominant one's not you, okay? It's fine. Here's some potential problems. Language, misunderstanding language. So if it's your second language, third, fourth language, it could be a reason. But also, these are not science. This is not science. This is just one of those things. VJ mentioned the last time he took it, it changed. Yeah, it's possible it could change. The point is that at any particular point in time, people in the classroom that you teach could be on one spectrum of the sorting and one spectrum of the perception. And give me the conclusion then. If that's the case, then what does that mean as a teacher? What was that? Have variety. Ooh, what do you mean?
Your approach should be broad enough to cater to all.
Yes. Okay, what else? A broad approach. I love it. What else? Come on.
Be creative.
Creative. Yes. Okay, what else? Identify. Because guess what? I also, if I took this right now, I would be somewhere on the spectrum too. And I might only be reaching, if I did not on purpose have variety, only reach this group over here, because maybe they're like me. And guess how many people I've left in the classroom? Okay. So I need variety. I need challenge. I need to think about my lesson plans. I need to think about who I'm reaching. I need to think about what my goal is. Is my goal that the content would be talked about, or is my goal that the students, I like what Pastor Barry says, he always asks teachers, so what are you teaching? And, I'm teaching math, algebra 1, 2, geometry. No. What are you teaching? Math, algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry. No. What are you teaching? I don't know. What am I teaching? You're teaching students first. You're teaching people. You're teaching a person. Behind all of the things that you're doing, there's a person. And the goal of the teacher could be to meet that person where they're at and cause understanding, the sense of what's being said in the Scripture. Did you know you can pray any way you want to God? You can talk to Him how you want. What? No, I can't. I cannot. God's holy. No, talk to Him. Talk to Him. You sure? Yes, talk to Him. I learned when I was 7 years old. That's a learning moment, okay? All right, go ahead and find your seats. Thank you. That's great. That was great. School.
How else am I going to teach that?
Okay. Now, one thing I want to say related to this is it's really healthy for you to vary. It's healthy for you, but it's also healthy for the student. And the term that they like to use in education is flex, okay? And that is that maybe VJ changed from last year to this year, right? It's been about a year, right? Because he's learned how to flex, in one sense, his learning style. And that's healthy because, you know, things change, life changes. Pastor Pete was saying that he thinks maybe he was this one way, but because of his business, the organization he's had in his ministry, and all this other stuff has changed him. The Word, right, studying the Word has changed him, and maybe now he's this. So that's important for our students to see that kind of variety. So I guess the point I'm trying to make, if you haven't gotten it already, is, if I can make any point, one learning objective, not 50 different things, but one learning objective is, does anybody guess what it is yet? For all of the whole couple hours that we've talked so far? About students?
Teaching.
They're all different. That's the, yes! They're all different. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. And the goal would be hopefully to try to reach them in different types of ways. Okay, so now, moving on to Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, this is really awesome. I love to share this real quick. This is going to tie in directly.
You want me to help?
Yeah, could you pass those out? And then if there's an extra copy for copies to be made for anybody else. Could I have one also? I'm sorry. The teacher didn't. Okay, there we go. Now, if you look at the projector, the screen up there, this gentleman, just ignore the words, but the idea is taxonomy. Benjamin Bloom, he wrote basically a delineation of how we learn, and he put these words together to try to help us understand what we call high-level thinking, low-level to high-level thinking. And it's interesting because I feel like Proverbs does something like this too. But that's just my side note, okay? But anyway, at the base, at the bottom, we have general knowledge. And general knowledge is the lowest level, this is what Bloom was saying, the lowest level of any type of knowledge, any type of learning is knowledge. And that's like facts. You know, like, anybody here know what the capital of Florida is? Tallahassee. Hey, that's right, you're from Hungary. Come on, okay, that's amazing. Who was the first president of the United States?
Abraham Lincoln.
George Washington. Come on, you guys. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, I knew we'd get that one. All right. So this is just rote memorization, and this happens all the time, right? Knowledge, 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 knowledge. Then we go to comprehension, and from comprehension to apply what we've learned. And then after application, we can analyze how we have applied it. And after we analyze it, we can synthesize and compare all of the different things and make an evaluation at the end, which is the highest level. Like, you really understand something. You really, really get it when you're all the way at the top there, when you can evaluate it. And I have this thought, and I want to ask you this question. Is there any room in here for revelation? Revelation. Okay, explain, yes.
On every level. It's like behind all knows God, being taught by God.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I think the ultimate place of revelation is actually where revelation comes. You are able to put everything together, able to see deeper into the information.
Yeah.
I believe that's the place where you which you most likely to find something beyond what's general.
Something beyond just general knowledge. Yeah, I mean, this is how I compare it, okay? So when I teach apologetics, we get into ethics in our high school class, and there's 3 levels, VJ remembers, right? I drill this into their heads, right? 3 levels of ethics. We have personal ethics, that's me. We have social ethics, and that's a bunch of me's all together. And then what's the next one? Higher ethics, which is where? It's God. It's like God's ethic. you know? And it's essential. Like, higher ethics are really important, because if it's just a bunch of me's, then our ethics clash all the time. And this is why we have problems in society. This is why in the Euros and the soccer tournament, we could have countries, fans in different countries representing different teams fighting like crazy, because they're holding fast to their own social ethic, whether that ethic is a team, it can be a family, it can be a school, it can be a city, a state, a country, it could be a part of the world, that those ethics become something that you hold on to. But we need something higher ethics. And I think about it like this, okay? It's similar. Like, knowledge is one thing. And we had a kid today that was interviewing, and he knew the entire story of Eli, the priest. And he's only, I think he's 6 years old or 7 years old, and he's just like, boom, 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 just ripping off different details about this. Oh, no, it wasn't that, it was this guy, and he had a sister, and his sister did this, and the brother of that guy did this, and it was this year, and he was just going on and on and on and on and on. It's knowledge. And that's good, but what do we care the most about? Which level? Like, do we care most about this bottom level, the low level, or do we care more about the higher level? And that's the point that I want to make here in this particular section. So take a look at Bloom's taxonomy on the sheet that you just got. And this is a framework to be used when you're developing questions or assignments that will help you think across different levels, okay? So we have knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and then evaluation. And underneath that, you'll see revelation. And I consider that to be the ultimate level. The problem with revelation is, and the problem with higher learning is, we always go there because we want that to be what our students grab, right? But we start there. And sometimes it's hard for people, especially when they have difficulty with things that are abstract. It's hard for them to get the highest level because they haven't walked up the steps, for lack of a better term, We need to carry them. We need to help them go from concrete to abstract. We need to help them see something that's in their world to help them see how it relates to the higher part. But we love them. And we know how it's changed us. So we dive in and we're like, this verse changed my life. I can't wait to share it with you. And they're like, okay, go ahead. Share it with me. So we need to set the stage, kind of. I guess that's my point.
Bloom didn't say anything about revelation.
No, this is me adding revelation. That's why I put it in a separate box. So that's separate. Okay, so if you look at, underneath that, it has Bloom's level. Knowledge is a simple recall of information. Okay? And then there's some sample verbs of how that could look. So you would say, I want everybody to cite or collect or define the 5 vocabulary words. Or, for example, can anybody find what I asked, or remember what I asked you to do in the beginning in Nehemiah chapter 8? Yeah, I want you to find the word understand. That's knowledge. I know the word understand. I'm going to find it on the page, understand. Okay? So I went from concrete to what? Later. Abstract. The end. The mission statement. Synthesize the information. Make an evaluation. Which verse did you think, or do you think, is their mission statement? That's an evaluation. And because you're adults, we can go there fast. So the older you are, the faster maybe you can get there. The younger they are, the slower you need to carry them there. Okay? So then there's some sample questions that you can do. List the gifts of the Spirit. Name 3 of Jesus' disciples. Define grace. Those are all knowledge. You can look this over. Comprehension, application, analysis. Turn the page for a second. Write a song. Hey, synthesis. Or a poem, or a short story. Look at evaluation on the far right. Critique the various interpretations of Philippians chapter 2. Anybody know what I'm talking about there? Yes. Which verses are we talking about? Who criticizes those verses? Or what are the... Let's see, how does that go? Kenosis? What's the verse in English? What's that part? Philippians chapter 2. Yeah, 5 to 8. What does it say, though? I had a brain burp. He thought, being in the form of a servant, thought it not robbery to empty himself, or that one that people debate all the time. And that's a high level. And you try to teach an 8-year-old that, and they're like, what? And I'm talking to the credit students here because we know that from Bible college. Those are verses we talk about all the time, And then Revelation is awesome. Yeah. Okay, so this is for you. This is a reference for you to look over later. Okay? Matt, get a home run tonight, okay? All right, last page. Turn it to the very last page. Now, I did something really great for you because I am a super nerd, okay? Say thanks, Nate. Okay, I'm a nerd. Yeah, thanks, Pastor Brian. Okay, so learning style characteristics, the last page. Learning style characteristics, so we have CS, AR, AS, and CR. And then I took the learning levels and somebody else separated them into 3 parts. So we have thinking level 1, 2, and 3. And if you look back on the page before, he calls it basic thinking, engaged thinking, dynamic thinking. Okay? So I've separated it for you in thinking level 1, 2, and 3. And then I gave you an activity or some kind of instruction that would help each type of learning style. Look at that. So you could take this reference sheet and create a Sunday school lesson and hit all 4 learning styles and reach every student in your classroom. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Did Butler develop, correspond with?
What? Butler's levels, he separated Bloom's levels and he just called it something different. That's all that is, yeah. So, hey, look at that. One of our Bible teachers at GGCA, he decided at the very end of his class for a final exam, rather than giving students questions, that they would have to make a tract for evangelism using the information they learned in his Bible class. And he came in the office and said, "Is this okay that I do this?" And I almost hugged him. I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's one of the greatest, most awesome things we could ever do is teach teenagers how to change the generation that they live in and evangelize and use what they learned in your class to write a tract. Can I help you?" So he has them all laminated. Pastor Chuck Heidenreich. It was awesome. Awesome. So anyway, that's for you guys. I want you to be able to use that. And before we move on to the next section, why don't you go ahead and take a break? So let's come back in 10 minutes, okay?